Hello. Hello. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you could please make your way into the arena, please. We're due to go kick off live at 5 p.m. Thank you. Hello, hello, hello. Ladies and gentlemen. Nice and quiet so we can just hear the fish. You're all very, very welcome here today, folks, for what is the world's first aquaculture accelerator program demo day. And it's really amazing to see a lot of people that have helped us over the last 3 months in getting us here today. The audience here, all involved in the seafood industry, most of them, and in aquaculture. And we thought maybe it was a bit of a risk bringing you here to the aquarium with all these beautiful, tasty fish all around you. But here we are, and I think it couldn't be a better setting for the world's first aquaculture accelerator program. So my name is Wayne Murphy. I'm the COO and co-founder of Hatch. And we came to Bergen probably around November of last year to set this thing up. We didn't know what it was going to be. But what we were looking to do was to find exceptional talent in the aquaculture world, to find people, no matter where they were, and bring them here to Bergen, where we felt, and we do feel, that this is the global center of excellence for aquaculture. At this point also, just to bring a bit of a spotlight on Bergen, I'd like to welcome all our live stream viewers from all around the world. And a special mention, I think, for many of the families here of the teams who, again, are from all over the world, just to say hi from all their mammies and daddies and boyfriends. And to my lovely wife, I love you, I'm coming home soon. Okay, my job is going to be a very tight schedule today. I'm really excited for you to hear about all the amazing progress that all our teams have made. I have to say, and I'll maybe click onto this. I'll come back to that one. But this is what was day one on April 2nd. And they're a very beautiful crew. Okay? The beautiful mountain, the Ulriken in the background. And these guys really hadn't got a clue what was going to happen for the next 3 months or where they're going to be, where they want to go. And it's been amazing to see that they've traveled all over the world in 12 weeks. They've been to tilapia farms in Zambia. They've been into Singapore. They've been to Ecuador. They've been pretty much all over the world. And again, they're going to share all that journey with you. But this is an exceptional bunch of people. And we're very proud to say that they are the first graduates of Hatch. So big round of applause for those guys. Just a few housekeeping things, really, I guess. If the place goes on fire, guys, I don't think you have much to worry because there's plenty of water in the tanks. We also, in terms of, we have 2 awards today, which are very important to the program, I guess. One is for the best contributor. And the best contributor is a vote that the teams themselves have voted the person who they feel truly represents what Hatch is all about, truly represents entrepreneurial spirit and drive and commitment and loyalty and persistence, and has taken time to share those qualities with each other. And then they've made that vote, and we'll do that award later. And also, this will be interesting for me. We've got a vote for the most investable company. And Slido, if you have a look at the website there, the app, download the app, please, and you'll have an opportunity to vote for who you think is the most investable proposition. Now, also voting for this is our investor panel of Chris, Nina, and Scott online, okay? These guys are going to be ones who are going to make the ultimate decision, but let's see what the professionals look like, and let's see, what the audience look like and see where the comparison is. Please, we're trying to raise awareness around aquaculture. We'd really appreciate if you use extensively your social media platforms with the hashtag #HatchDemoDay. Now, to kick things off, this thing is not really possible without some amazing partners. These guys in the seafood cluster and also the BTO were probably one of the reasons why Hatch is here. So I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to welcome on stage Björgólfur Hávardsson, the innovation manager from the seafood cluster.
Thank you so much, Wayne. It's been quite a couple of months, haven't it? I was the first mentor who met these incredibly impressive people 3 months ago, and to my, not least to my surprise, is the volume and amount of wisdom they have brought to me. So maybe I should be paying you guys. You have really, really contributed to me as a person and to me as a professional in my industry. And I'm going to do something really crazy I've always wanted to do because I want this amazing tweet. Can I get some reaction here, please? Yeah, come on! And from this side, really, come on, give it to me. My mom is going to love this. Hi, Ma. She's looking. She's watching from East Iceland. Computing and digitalization is amazing. Hatch. What we are actually experiencing today is a real live hatch. We have these companies, they're hatching. They came, we can consider them as our eggs, our roes. They have been maturing in a very, very fruitful, nursing, pushing, demanding environment, and today they'll hatch. And it's going to be intense, it's going to be fun, and we are all going to be amazed because they are really the top of the crop. That's why they are here. I'm extremely happy that they chose Bergen. To me, I mean, I moved from my own homeland, Iceland, to come to Bergen in '91, so I saw this one coming. My father doubted it very much. But I came here because I saw this town had something really amazing, the education, the companies, and this has been growing for 20 odd years. Obviously, I was 15, 12 when I came here. And what brought me here was, there was this feeling of community even at that time. And we have the same thing here. And it has been carrying itself, it's been growing and maturing, and what we see here in Bergen today is unique. And Hatch is the ultimate expression of that, in my personal opinion, because we have people from all over the world, near and far. People are here from Indonesia, guys, think about that. Just give it a second and just think about it. We have people moving in from the US, from Portugal, French, from Thailand. I mean, this is sort of the ultimate international feeling. And that is ultimately what we are working for, to get fish farming up and go, to grow it internationally. Salmon is an incredibly important part of aquaculture, but it's by no means the only species in aquaculture. There is so much more out there, and this group really tells us a lot about that. Sustainability is obviously incredibly important part of everything we do. And sustainability has both to do with environment, both the ocean and the ocean floor and the fish and the life, but also the people we work with. Without that amazing people, nothing will ever happen anywhere. And we need the variation of people. We need Georges and Carsten and Waynes, and we need all the others as well. And with that sort of sustainability and enthusiasm, I think amazing things can and will be happening. We in the cluster, Seafood Innovation Cluster, have been incredibly proud of contributing and participating, and it's been an incredibly fun trip from 3 months ago to today. And to see the development of these companies has been absolutely amazing. I'm a man of few words, so I think I'll draw the line here. No giggles. Doesn't anybody know me here? So I think I'll leave the stage because the real stars are the companies who will be presenting in a little while. So I would love for you all guys to give them a resounding appreciation through a good applause. Come on! There you go. You made my mother proud.
Thank you, Buggy. And I actually forgot to mention before he got on stage today, he was in fact the first mentor in the program. And just to say to Buggy, I think you actually set the tone of the amount of skill and expertise and knowledge that exists here in Bergen. And I think that the teams were truly kind of inspired by you, Buggy, so you set them off on a good track from the beginning. Next up, again, another individual for me who's been hugely supportive of Hatch, and again, things don't happen without a community of supporters. I'd like to invite on stage Anders Haugland, the CEO of the BTO.
Well, thank you. Great to see you. And great to be here. Anders Haugland is my name. I run the BTO. And in BTO we are obsessed. What are you looking for, Wayne? Anything I can help you with? Obsessed by creating the best ecosystem for innovation and growth that's possible in our region. And I think that the ultimate result is to be able to house and support such initiative like Hatch is. And I think that one thing is all the great teams, all the great supporters, and the Hatch community, the Hatch organizers, the people behind it is important. But one thing that I don't know if they know how important this is the impact you have on all the others that's standing outside and looking into this initiative and feeling they would like to be there. They would like to be in the next Hatch. And I'm sure that when this first Hatch has turned into many sister Hatch around the world, and this community grow, we will see that we will have Norwegian companies moving into Hatch in Singapore, in US, and companies from all over the world coming to us again and creating this community where we really can demonstrate, cutting-edge technology and present it to the industry leaders that is, lucky for us, in Bergen. So I think the reason why we could get Hatch to Bergen is because of the industry and the research environment. And I think we should give them a big round of applause to the Bergen's industry and research community. For those who don't know BTO, we try to help the research communities to commercialize their results, to get it into application to the benefit for society. And definitely we have a huge portfolio in the aquaculture and ocean area, and to be able to top it up with Hatch as the top of the pyramid, as the Olympiatoppen when we come to talk about Norwegian sports, it's just fantastic. So I will just thank you guys for the opportunity to join you in this endeavor, and I'm looking forward to see all the exciting companies and their progress presented later on today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anders. Next up is Daniel Barziza, the R&D Director at Cargill. And I can't stress enough the importance that Cargill have played in making this possible also. They're the largest feed company in the world, but for what they need to do and what they have done quite clearly in this instance is reach out and support the innovation that's required to make aquaculture the business and the industry in the future that the world needs. Otherwise, we're all in trouble. So I think hats off to Cargill for stepping in and supporting our teams, and I'd really like to welcome Daniel on stage to share his thoughts about this. Thank you, Daniel.
All right, thank you very much. Such a beautiful place to have and such an exciting night as we see the culmination of 90 days worth of work. As part of Cargill, our global mission is nourishing the world in a safe, responsible, and sustainable way. And I think everybody here is aware of the growing population and the demand that is going to put on food production as we head into the future years. And that is why Cargill is so excited about aquaculture, because we know it's a rapidly growing industry that has tremendous potential to produce a lot of high-quality protein that can make healthy diets for people all around the world. At the same time, as Wayne was mentioning, we know that aquaculture alone is not going to meet that demand. We have to have innovation. If we want to make that aquaculture grow in a way that is more productive, more sustainable, we have to really support innovation. So we as a company put a lot of effort into our innovation We have innovation centers and what we call application centers all around the world where we're conducting, hopefully, breakthrough technologies to bring new ways of making the animal healthier and more productive and more sustainable. As part of the broader Cargill organization, we also have access into a lot of raw material production, and we're working on new sources of omega-3 and new sources of protein and new health additives that we can bring to help make aquaculture sustainable. But as happy as we are, and as the R&D director, I have to talk about how awesome our capabilities are, and I do believe that. But at the same time, we're not so naive to believe that we can do everything and that we have all of the answers. So one of my favorite proverbs is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We really want aquaculture to grow far. This is not a short-term play. We want to make sure that aquaculture is there producing food for the future generations. And so that is why we have, as part of our culture, adopted an open innovation approach. And historically, we've done a lot of work with the rest of our Cargill compatriots. We've done work with academic groups and government bodies and different industry suppliers, as well as customers. Many of you are in the room that we've worked with in the past. But we also know that the rate of change is constantly accelerating. And if you just look at some of the presentations we're going to see later tonight, as some of these types of technologies hit, the change is going to be tremendous, the way that they use digital data, and the world will not be the same tomorrow as it was today. So we know that we also have to keep changing our approach. We can't just keep working the way that we always have, and that's why we were so excited to partner with Hatch. We want to be able to support startup groups that we know are going to change the way that we're raising fish in the future. We want to be part of that. And so we're very excited to be here to support these various groups. And we've had quite a bit of work in mentoring the groups. We've actually had conversations with several of the groups talking about how we can take their technology and bring it to our customers all around the world. And so we see a ton of potential. We've been very excited with the progress we've seen so far, and I'm tremendously excited to see the presentations here at the end. I was here for the opening 90 days ago, and I know there's been tremendous progress, and I can't wait to see that. So good luck to all of the groups. We know that you've put a ton of work in, and we look forward to seeing the impact that you're going to have and partnering with you to make aquaculture the sustainable way to feed the world.
I think, just to take on the message from Daniel in terms of this being a real global audience that we're going to, and also for the audience on the live stream today. You know, our teams here are from Thailand, they're from India, they're from Indonesia, they're from Portugal, they're from the USA, they're from the UK, and they're also from Norway. Now, that's an incredible mix of talent coming here to make things happen. And what's needed to flourish and support that kind of entrepreneurship and that kind of talent is investment. It's crucial in the industry to make these companies, give them enough funds to scale and grow and test and go out and find customers so that aquaculture remains very healthy in the future. And I'm really delighted to welcome Tom Prins, the Dealflow manager from AquaSpark here today, who for me and Hatch play a crucial part in the future of aquaculture and investing in startups that they believe that have the scale, the potential to be truly global companies and leave a really positive imprint on the world in terms of sustainability and making sure that aquaculture is very healthy into the future. So without further ado, Tom, will you please join us on stage?
Hi, everyone. Wow, what a spotlight. Not in my wildest dreams I would have imagined myself speaking to a crowd in the middle of an aquarium, but this is awesome. This feels really good. So I'm with AquaSpark. We're a venture fund based out of the Netherlands. We invest in aquaculture ventures, and we have a strong focus on scale-up companies. We invest in expanding existing businesses, companies that have a strong proof of concept, a strong sort of track record, and are well positioned for growth. That's typically the moment where we get in. But then sort of Hatch came along late last year, and we went through sort of the full due diligence process together with Hatch, and we decided to partner up with the team and with Hatch. And since February this year, we're an incredibly proud partner in Hatch, and that feels really good. And that feels really good because I believe that we're incredibly complementary to one another. So like I said, we focus on later stage type of companies, and Hatch as a group, as a business accelerator, focuses on the earlier life stages of companies, right? So they focus on companies that might be incredibly disruptive, might be game changers to the industry, but are too young to raise capital from groups that have a focus on Series A's like ourselves. So we feel that we're incredibly complementary to what Hatch is doing, and together we feel sort of, for me it feels that we have this very strong partnership where AquaSpark comes in later and Hatch comes in earlier. And together we therefore, at least this is my opinion, we can basically fill sort of the funding gap that historically has been very problematic in aquaculture. Now, closing this funding gap for me today is of bigger importance than it has ever been. So there's a lot of issues that we're probably all aware of, right? So if you look at the oceans, about 85% of our oceans are overfished or fully depleted. We're looking at a fast-growing world population. The expectation is that we'll be with 9 billion of us on the planet by 2050. And on top of that, we're eating more and more seafood. So seafood consumption per capita has basically doubled in the past 50 to 60 years. So that is the bad news. Now, the good news is we have the solutions to basically turn the tide. So we live in a day and age where we're able to completely redesign the way we produce our food. And aquaculture is the way forward. Aquaculture is going to play a tremendous part of basically filling the protein gap going forward. And that is incredibly exciting. Now, changing the world, therefore, has never been so easy. And that's why I'm speaking to all the investors in the room right now. We're bringing aquaculture opportunities right to your doorstep. I would like to invite you to be inspired tonight, to be amazed by the teams that you're about to see on stage tonight, to get involved and to change the world. It has really never been so easy. Final words to the teams presenting tonight, a big good luck. I've seen you present 60 days ago when the program was only 30 days in. I was pretty much blown away by what I saw back then, and I'm really excited to see where you've gotten since then. So good luck.
I think Tom is pretty much speaking our language. And a big call out to the audience here and also those overseas watching in today. We've got to do something about this, and we've got to support these companies. We've got to give them the funds necessary for them to really change the world, and that's how passionate we are about it. But it also leads into Tom mentioning about him being here 30 days ago, and leading on to our next speaker. All of these people that you see on stage today pretty much have been into Hatch, and they've been working with the teams. They've been sharing their knowledge. They've been sharing their expertise. They've been sharing their failures. And that's a dirty word, okay? But failure is actually very good in terms of learning. And we encourage our startups to fail. Might be controversial, but for me and for the team here, we understand that they need to learn from those failures because they will learn so much more than they will if in terms of success. So these mentors have come in, and Katrine Torvik from DNB and her team come in and spent an afternoon with our teams, really drilling into what they're doing. And I'd like to welcome her on stage for DNB, which is the world's largest seafood bank. Katrina.
Thank you. It's really strange to think about only a few months we met for the first time. And for DNB, we have been supporting these kind of programs for many years. But Hatch is something very special. And when you first presented the idea, Wayne, I was like looking at you and not really understanding, because the normal setting for us is that we are sponsoring programs with startups from our own region. This was like, in a way, the other way around, that people would come from all over the world and try to hatch their idea here. And it's, of course, a different perspective when you work as a local and regional bank and supporting your own crowd, so to say. But as Wayne said, we are also large on a global basis within the seafood industry. So we understood that this matches with DNB. Seafood and Hatch would be a good match, to put it that way. But still, it was very special, and when we first started this program, I must say I was wondering how this would work out. But I really feel, having come to the end of this first step for the teams and for the new ideas, that Hatch has been really about a partnership. For us in DNB, we have been working with you in, I think, even more special way than we've done before. And I think, actually, Wayne, it's very much about how you are making the atmosphere around the teams. Because we have been talking a lot about the hard stuff here, and of course it will be more about the hard stuff, the ideas, business potential, and so forth. But to really succeed, you need the good teams, and the teams need to have the good environment. And that's really a big achievement that Hatch has proven to us. How do you work with the teams to make them grow? And that's maybe the one really outstanding experience. Then it's been a learning experience for us all the way, because we have been able to integrate with Hatch in maybe a little bit a different way than we've done before, also with the programs. And we have been, all from our CSR people, been meeting up with one of the teams. We have, of course, the business side, the seafood side have been very active together with the teams. We also had one of the teams coming to one management group for us, presenting to learn and to see how the startup idea is working, and how they work with their, how they progress with their ideas. And so there have been so many aspects of this, aside from the seafood potential that we saw from the start. So I must say, today I'm really grateful that we've been a part of this, and I think maybe to all the other corporates that are present here today, I think teaming up with a program like Hatch, it really gives you, it's a learning experience. And for us, we also use this in our own innovation work. I mean, we have also had people from our innovation side coming to join Hatch for a day to see how you work. And one of the guys, he just posted in our internal Facebook at work, this was just, like great stuff. So I think you've impressed many people already, and today you're going to impress with your ideas and how far you've come, and I'm really super excited to be listening to this. So thank you.
Thank you. Amazing words of support. Thank you very much, Katrine. I'll move on very, very quickly to the next speaker. His mother will be very proud. It's Dr. Carsten Krome. Carsten, I just want to fill you in, guys, because he's probably one of the most unassuming people you'll meet. He's going to hate me doing this, but Carsten, this is his brainchild, ultimately. He saw, when he worked as a deal analyst in AquaSpark, that there were many great ideas coming to the table, but they weren't really hitting the spot, so to speak, to grab attention. And he felt that he needed to do something about that in trying to help these earlier stage companies. And then he met on his journey George, and then he met me, and then Hatch came together. But really, truly, I'm really glad to say people need to recognize this, that this is the guy who started this. And I think you should give him a really big round of applause.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. I actually did try to explain my mom how to stream in tonight. It took me 1 hour, and then I just said, Mom, I'll just tell you all about it afterwards. So, just very briefly from me on a very personal note, we very much see Hatch as a startup, or saw Hatch as a startup as well before this program. We are a company, much like the startups you'll hear in a moment, that didn't know for a long time how we should have our concept built up, what our business model should be. We were last year around this time, I was in my apartment in Berlin with George, and we were buying ourselves a whiteboard about the size of the screen, and just filled it actually double-sided, so we could fill it from both sides. And we just drew on it with all the different concepts and models of how to engage with companies, how to engage with partners, should it be a remote accelerator, should it be an on-site accelerator, should we be Where should we be located? Is maybe, you know, is Bergen the right place to be? And it actually took Wayne, who we met only end of October, to say, look guys, I'd really like to work with you, but you guys got to make some decisions. And I'm sure that all the startups that we have in our portfolio right now have heard that sentence about 1 million times now, and I'm probably going but it holds some truth. So we made decisions. We didn't know where we would go in end of October. We made a decision for Bergen, which turned out to be amazing, and a lot of that has been said today, so I'm not going to repeat it. But we also made a decision on the business model, and not knowing whether companies would sign up for that, not knowing whether companies would leave their families and teams at home to move away from, you know, 7 different nations we have out of 8 companies to Bergen. So I'm incredibly grateful that we've managed to pull this off. I see us as a company like anybody else, and this is our proof of concept that you'll see in a moment. And yeah, without further ado, I look forward myself to seeing the pitches, because I just do the boring legal work all the time, so I don't get to see them very much. Thank you very much.
Well done. I told you he's very unassuming. Okay, we're going to shift a gear a little bit, and we thought not just to hear from Hatch and our supporters, but, you know, we want to kind of give you kind of a real feeling of how important aquaculture is to people. And we met this gentleman, Chris Haatuft, not so long ago actually, and he really inspired us in terms of, you know, his interest in aquaculture. He's the chef and proprietor at Lysverket. If you're thinking about eating in Bergen, oh my God, that's the place to go. If you're talking about seafood, yeah. An amazing place and an experience. But what was really amazing for us in dealing with Chris was when he brought out that food and he explained where it came from, how it was grown, the origin of it, the sustainability part of it, fitting exactly into how Hatch feels and wants to impact the world. It really is an amazing experience, and for us, I think there's probably no better person to give you a taste of that, excuse the pun. So I'll welcome on stage Chris Haatuft.
It's a nice picture. Yeah, so thank you very much. I guess some of you know me as the chef at Lysverket, and you might be thinking, okay, why are you here then? But the reason I'm invited here is twofold. First of all, because I have maybe a different approach to aquaculture and sustainability as most of you have, but I also have been following Hatch from the beginning till now. But first, so the reason I've been following Hatch is because I also, in addition to running Lysverket, and now my new pizza place, Hoggorm, that in addition to that, I'm also an advisor for a venture fund from Belgium called Armour Ventures that just recently got established. And I started working with them after a food conference in Denmark, where I did a short talk on the need for chefs to adopt a different vocabulary concerning aquaculture. Because chefs that have ambitious restaurants and are in the media a bit, they tend to be skeptical to aquaculture. That's not a big secret. So, and they base this out of sustainability issues. So for me, it's a very counterproductive view if you also claim sustainability as a core motivation for cooking. So I did my speech about how we as chefs need to change our vocabulary and adopting the same type of aesthetics that we do with our land-based farms, basically. We're very good at distinguishing between good practitioners of animal husbandry and bad practitioners of animal husbandry, if we can add some nice photos and hopefully us at the farm visiting, and that is a very well established part of the promotional effort of restaurants. So I think there's a very good possibility for us to do the same with aquaculture. It's not just big industry, it's also the oyster farmers and the mussel farmers. There's the people hatching the baby scallop, and there's good practitioners and there's bad practitioners. There's going to be a lot more of this in the future. So that is, that is why I'm taking part in this. So I've been following the Hatch program from the start, and it's been amazing to see the development and the companies, and I'm looking very much forward to seeing the final, maybe not the final product, but at least the final pitch of the program. Thank you.
Are we good? Okay, folks. Next, live from the West Coast, East Coast, sorry, today, East Coast of the States, we have Scott Plank. Hi, Scott.
How about me?
Hey, Scott.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent. It worked.
Scott, there's a nice big Bergen welcome for you.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Modern technology. We're very pleased to have Scott here live from the East Coast of the USA. Scott, for me, in terms of this event here today, is one of the co-founders of Under Armour, a billion-dollar company in the States. He knows what it's like to be involved in building something from pretty much nothing all the way to where it is to be a world-renowned brand. And we're looking forward to you, Scott, sharing some of your thoughts around that.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, multi-billion-dollar brand, thank you. So, yeah, thank you very much. I've just a couple things I wanted to share today. I've been out of Under Armour for about 6 or 7 years, and my brother is still the CEO. And, of course, my heart is still with Under Armour. So I've been doing a number of different things, and I would say that you can look up my bio, but mostly I think what would be interesting to talk about is what does food mean to me, and why I've become interested in what aquaculture is doing, and what, in particular, AquaSpark. So we have a food strategy here, and it involves another chef like Chris. It's Chef Spike Jurdy. So Spike and I have been friends for a decade probably, and about 3 or 4 years ago, we worked together and we opened a whole animal butchery here in town. And it's a wonderful place to get the best cuts of everything. Of course, everything is organic and grass-fed. We also then went out and opened up our own canning facility. We do tomatoes, we do all sorts of fruits and vegetables, as well as a really good hot sauce called snake oil. And as I was looking around and thinking, well, what is our third concept? Of course, fish and shellfish. And we're in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. So Chesapeake Bay watershed, of course, is one of the largest in the United States. It goes all the way from middle New York down to West Virginia. And all of that water is coming into directly into the bay where we are. And I'll give you guys a fun picture in a minute out there. And so the concept was, well, how do we think about the bay? And we think about it, and particularly aquaculture, a lot of different ways. And I'll spare you guys repeating all the reasons that folks have already given you, because I certainly share all of those reasons to be involved in aquaculture. I think the big idea that we came up with was there's 2 aspects of this. And the first one was just mentioned by Chef. How can we as a group collectively dispel some of the preconceptions around aquaculture, and in some ways some of the bad practices that have been in place in years past? And I was on the board of the National Aquarium for about 10 years as vice chairman. And one of the things I learned about that was, and what we do at, what my life has been at Under Armour is consumer products, consumer stories. So for me it was, well, how can we tell that story in the most efficient way? And it was, well, let's think about the aquariums. And so the National Aquarium gets about 1.2 million visitors a year. And of course, when you're at an aquarium, you're with your friends and family usually. And it's kind of like, it seemed to me the two places to open people's hearts about changing to the idea of aquaculture is, like Chef said, at the dinner table, and then, you know, when you're out with your family at the aquarium. So I worked with our executive, the CEO of the aquarium, and we funded and established basically a chair of aquaculture and sustainable fish and shellfish and sustainable seafood in general. And what she was doing is working with a lot of the grocery stores, working with the people, but most importantly to me, it was ingraining into the aquarium itself the idea that how do we talk about aquaculture and how do we talk about, you know, not just farm fish, but oh shoot. Anyway, so how are we talking about that? So our idea was we can present that to, you know, 1 million people a year in that environment. The second piece for me was it's always, you know, there's a business aspect to what we do and a philanthropic aspect. And, you know, I started talking to people about ways to invest in the industry because I strongly believe, like everyone has said, there's a lot of opportunity in it. And of course, it needs capital. So I began looking around and was recommended to talk to the folks at AquaSpark. And I quickly learned that, you know, it's a very organized company environment, and which is how I became one of the initial investors in AquaSpark. And I also felt, you know, it was great for me being somebody in the US, which I think is far behind a lot of other regions in the world, and that having an international exposure was very important. I generally don't invest outside the US just because it's just too difficult, but with AquaSpark, it was an exception. And I also very much like that I'm an entrepreneur and an operator. So when I only have 6 or 7 investments that I've made that are direct investments in companies like WeWork, a company like EverFi, you know, of course, I think of Under Armour. So for me, it was great to be able to work with AquaSpark as going through this process and introducing me to ideas like Hatch. So I hope to get as much out of this today as other folks and learn more and more about it. And then, of course, I want to thank the sponsors as well, too, because I know that that's an important part of it. Hopefully, I'm still on video, and I'm going to show you guys the Baltimore Harbor and the Chesapeake Bay. Let's see if this works. It's going to be very bright.
Wow.
So this is my office, and this is an apartment building we built, and this is the Baltimore Harbor. I can't really take credit for all of it, only this building, but hopefully it's great. But thank you guys, and I'm looking forward to today.
Normally, I'd be quite jealous of the weather that you just shown, but Bergen today is burning in the sun. Thank you, Scott, very much. For our next speaker, Nina from Grieg Seafoods, I just want to make a point. I think it's a very important one. Grieg Seafood gave us the opportunity for our companies to come and visit their headquarters here in Bergen, to engage with Trond, their CIO, in terms of the technology and the drive that they have. And I have to say, we were hugely impressed by their strategy, or their future strategy towards digitalization and technology, and embracing many of the ideas that our teams have to kind of change the game, so to speak. I think Trond, he was like a boy in a sweet shop, you know, talking to these young guys and girls about what they're doing, and it was infectious. And I was delighted that they also had the opportunity to speak to someone of his experience in aquaculture and seafood and so forth. So I'm really delighted that Nina can come and maybe talk a little bit more about the amazing things that Grieg Seafood do.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and I think we are more than Trond that feel like we're in a sweet shop when we talk to startups. We are really in the spotlight here. I can't see anyone. Well, I work with strategy and business development in Grieg Seafood, and one of the things we look at is how we can use innovation and especially technology and sustainability and take that into the future. For those of you who don't know us, we're a global salmon farming company. Our head office is here in Bergen, but we have operations in southern and northern part of Norway, Shetland, and in Canada. So we are one of the major producers of salmon in the world. Personally, I'm also an investor on a side note, so I find this, and I'm a technology optimist and educated in technology. So I find this link between startup and us as established corporations extremely interesting. And I think innovation is not new to the salmon farming industry. It's been one of the key success factors in the short history of Norwegian salmon farming. But what is new is the startup community, and I think we can say for sure that there has been nothing like this for suppliers into the salmon industry before. So that's really impressive. I am positive, and I think many more with me, that technology will affect every part of our value chain. From genetics to precision farming, which is part of our digitalization strategy, to use technology to take better and more sustainable decisions, but also how we meet our customers. And the Hatch program has even shown us that our product can be disrupted, which I would never have thought being a commodity product. What I think is really important is that many of the startups and even many of the investors come from outside the industry. And that is fantastic to get some new insight and new knowledge into the industry. But I also think it's important to don't underestimate the complexity of the problems that we have and how that innovation should be done. So I think collaboration is critical. And Seafood Innovation Cluster has done a tremendous job there, and also partnering with Hatch. And I read a couple of days ago, there was an American newspaper, and they wrote an article, Aquaculture is the latest hotness of Silicon Valley VCs. And then I thought they are at least 90 days late. So I think you contribute a lot to the industry and to Bergen. So thank you for Hatch. And I've met some of the companies before, or companies, yeah. But I'm looking forward to presentations. So thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Just to say and remind everybody, the pitches are about to start, so all the really interesting stuff is really coming down the track. No pressure, guys. Just to remind you, please, if you can download the app if you want to get involved in this in terms of who you think it is. It'd be great to see who you think it is in terms of the company you feel is the most investable. But also just to remind you also that the panel, Chris, Scott, and Nina have a very important job. I've seen no brown envelopes going their way in terms of the winner, but it's their decision, and I don't envy you guys because there's 8 amazing presentations coming your way, but we look forward to your decision. So I'm going to move on now, and this is what we really all hear about. I think for me and the team at Hatch, we've had the pleasure in working with these 8 CEOs who've led their teams admirably. Who've done amazing things in a very short space of time. And first up is Finless. And I'd just like to, before Mike comes on stage, I think you should maybe a big round of applause for this. They just recently announced that they've closed an investment round of $3.5 million. So amazing job, Mike, and your team.
Thanks, everybody. That was great. Getting clapped on stage before I even said anything. Yeah, I want to really say thank you to Bergen for having me. I love coming here. It's my third time here, and I keep telling everybody how incredibly perfect the weather is in Bergen. I'm told that's not true. But every time I'm here, it's amazing. So maybe Bergen just likes me a lot. Really appreciate Hatch for throwing this, and having us into their network has been really amazing. And to the panel of judges, I didn't slip them a note, but I did eat at Chris's restaurant last night. It's fantastic. So thank you. I can't pronounce the name. No, I'm sorry. I'm a dumb American. What is it called? Hoggorm. No, the other one. That's the one that needs more promotion. Oh. So anyway, smart. So anyway, my name is Mike Selden. I'm the CEO of Finless Foods. We're based out of Berkeley, California, and we're a little bit different from a lot of what you're going to see tonight, but I think we still fit in with what's happening. So some stuff that you already know. Fish is one of the world's healthiest proteins. It's high in omega-3, omega-6, and DHA. But lately, because of climate change and growing levels of pollution, our wild-caught fish is having high levels of mercury and plastic. Aquaculture has done an amazing job at mitigating this and lowering these levels to something that's considerably better. But there are certain varieties of fish that can't yet be efficiently aquacultured. As you can see on this graph, I think a lot of you are familiar with it, wild-caught fish has really been tapped out. Somebody already mentioned that our oceans have been already fished to completion. So if we want to increase production of any variety of fish, we need to start doing things differently, either through aquaculture for the varieties that we can aquaculture, or for what I'm going to talk about, for varieties that can't currently be aquacultured. So we're Finless Foods. We're doing things very differently. What we're doing is we are taking a small sample of fish cells from a real fish, pulling them out of the fish, and then giving them the space and the nutrients that they need in order to grow. So this is not a vegan or vegetarian replacement for fish meat. This is real fish meat, the same thing that you are already eating, with no mercury, no plastic, a tiny fraction of the land use or the water use in terms of mariculture, and also entirely cruelty-free. We're growing real fish meat without needing to kill animals. The varieties that we're focusing on are fish that cannot currently be efficiently aquacultured. There have been efforts to work on this, but we can iterate much faster than they can. There are already people working on bluefin tuna aquaculture, but they're limited by the life cycle of the bluefin tuna. They have to take years to run one experiment, whereas cells divide in 24 hours. So instead of years, we can take a week to progress our science as far as them. This science really comes in two pieces. The first piece being to grow these cells out in a way that is, still retains their nutrition, still retains the taste, and also reduces the price. And then the second piece of the technology is to give it the structure and texture and look of a real cut of fish meat. So our first products that we're looking at are things that are unstructured. We're looking at things like negitoro, a fish paste. We're looking at spicy bluefin tuna roll for more of an American market. That said, the final goal of the company is to create real cuts of fish, so the steaks, fillets, and sashimi that people are familiar with. This is basically technology that already exists. 3D organ printing is already a well-established field. Cell culture is a very well-established scientific tool. All we're doing is taking this cost and dropping it to the point where it can be used for food. We've already made massive progress in this, dropping our cost ×3 since we started with our first prototype in September. Another interesting thing about this technology is we can completely change the way fish is distributed. Because we don't have any tie to the ocean whatsoever, we can produce this on land in urban areas, completely cutting out tons of parts of the supply chain. Wild-caught fish currently are caught on boats by people who then sell it to people at docks, who then sell it to distributors, who then sell it to grocery stores and restaurants, and then eventually to people. This process has many middlemen in it, and it's not necessary. It also increases the amount of time that the fish spends in transit, and it increases the physical stress on the product, reducing its quality. We can set up logically distributed centers in urban areas to get fish to people extremely fresh, even if that urban area has absolutely no access to water. The media has been very kind to us. People are very excited about changing the future of food and figuring out a better way to produce things. And so we've had a lot of positive press, as Wayne was mentioning. The founding team is myself. I have a background in biochemistry and molecular biology. My research before this was focused on food shortage problems in North Africa. And my co-founder, Brian Wyris, who was working at Weill Cornell Medical College, doing primary and stem cell culture. The two of us just recently made Inc.'s 30 Under 30, and we're pretty happy about that. Well, really, our moms are proud of that, but it was still a very cool thing. Talking a lot about moms tonight. So basically, with us and then our current 7 employees, we were able to create the first ever fish cakes produced entirely without cruelty. So in America, we have this labeling of dolphin-safe tuna to denote tuna that hasn't been, that was caught in ways that doesn't hurt dolphins. So we're calling this is carp-safe carp. And could you help me play the video? Cool, thank you. Oh, that's not my music, that's the other music. I can't do it from here. So basically, we gathered 25 of our friends together in a test kitchen in South San Francisco and fed them these carp cakes that we created with a professional chef. And that was back in September. Since then, we've been working on prototyping more thick tissue structures. What we did with this was really the creation of an ingredient that could be used in a larger sort of cooking experience. We are making history right now.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. There you go.
It tasted like fish because it is actual fish. I did notice a couple things that were missing. It didn't seem to have mercury in it, and it was also missing the antibiotics that are rampant in aquaculture.
Why would you choose to farm or fish wild fish with all that environmental and human health costs when you could just have it made by Finless Foods?
So anyway, thanks so much. Please look us up online. You can watch that and a bunch of other videos of our process. I can fast forward through this. Yeah, basically we plan on being in restaurants near early 2020 with our unstructured products, and then in grocery stores after that, and taking sashimi to restaurants in 2022. By the end of this year, we intend to have the first sashimi full fish tissue prototype. So basically what we're intending to do is take these cells and use them to revolutionize the way people eat seafood. I'm Mike Selden, and we're called Finless Foods. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
A true professional, when your slides go wrong, he just drives on through. Well done, Mike. I just like, we'll go on to the next pitch from AquaConnect and Raj. And I want to give you a sense of the commitment that the likes of Raj and many of his cohort colleagues coming from India, leaving his family behind to commit himself to this journey for 3 months. And Raj has worked extremely hard to get together the momentum that he's achieved to date. So I'd like to welcome on stage Raj. Leo.
Oh, thank you. Is it going? To really follow the footsteps of Mike with his world-changing ideas. I'm still waiting for my slides to be up. All right, thank you. Okay, that was an incredible chaos, that's what you say. It's total dysfunction, disorder, crazy, and everyone for themselves, and no respect for anybody else. To me, this is a great representation of Indian shrimp farm markets. To put this in perspective, here's our shrimp farmer down there. He wants to buy seed for his farm. He talks to the middleman 1, and the middleman 1 goes to middleman 2, and the middleman 2 talks to middleman 3, who gets the price from the hatcheries. A product that typically costs $10 now becomes $14. Does this sound crazy to you? These middlemen do anything, sell anything from cars to house to boats to even shrimp larvae. That's just one product. And this is how the whole industry works. To buy larvae, to buy feed, to sell your shrimp, you need to talk to layers upon layers of middlemen. In order to do farming, each farmer has to deal with at least 30 middlemen in India. And this is what my co-founder, Sanjay, and I have been working for the past 15 months. We met by accident in a train journey where I overheard Sanjay's constant calls to middlemen to sell his shrimp. I figured with Sanjay's shrimp farming experience and my technical background, there is some real opportunity for us to put order to that chaos that I talked about before. We got talking, and after the end of 6 hours train journey, the AquaConnect was born. India exported about 5.7 billion US dollar worth seafood in 2017, and it's growing double digits every year in spite of the inefficiency and the chaos that we talked about. And here we sensed a real opportunity, and the market potential was enormous here. And we understood the buying and selling process were too long, way too complex, and unnecessarily costly for the farmers at the end of the day. We set out to short this process. We came up with an idea of a marketplace that would reduce the moving part, and the farmers could directly connect with the market. This is what we have done. This is how it looks now. We launched a marketplace, e-commerce marketplace, as well as mobile app. And we thought, like, that's the end of the story, and boom, everybody would be lining up to use our solution. Unfortunately, we received very few takers for this application. We spent about hundreds of hours going to farms, talking to the farmers to understand the real sense of what went wrong with our solution. The results were really amazing to hear. We discovered that we needed more human intervention to educate and encourage farmers to embrace the online technologies. We set up the call center, and then we sent people on the ground. We call them digital assistants to educate and train them to use our marketplace solution as well as digital payment solution. In 2017, Indian governments have started promoting cashless economy campaigns. They started promoting digital payment solutions. So we see that's a great opportunity for us to grow and expand with the digital payment solutions with the farmers. Today, we work with about 600 farmers in India, and we reached up to 58,000 US dollars in revenue so far. We have a tried and tested business model, revenue model, wherein the farmers, interestingly, they do not pay for our services. It is the service providers who would like to reach out to the farmers, they pay for our services. We get anywhere between 0.5 to 10% for our services, depending upon the type of services that the service providers are looking for. From 2018 start, we have made significant partnerships with the industry players, as you can see the numbers here. Today, we are really proud and delighted to announce our partnership with one of the largest feed manufacturers. I'm not allowed to say the name right now, but I can give you the hint that they're really, really big, and they support us, right? Right? And this brings us a revenue close to $100,000 for another 6 months. This is a great validation for our idea. Sorry. This is a great validation for our idea and business model, and this proves our reach in the Indian market. We sense that there is a huge momentum that is building up in India for farm automation and digital solutions. With more and more farmers engaging with our digital platform, we envision to be at the forefront of disrupting Indian market with data analytics and farm automation technologies in future. This is my incredible team back in India. All the progresses that we made wouldn't have been possible without them today. We sensed the problem in the marketplace. That was chaos. We went out, we spoke to the farmers, we built our solution, we validated our revenue model. Now we have revenues close to 150,000 US dollars. And we are raising funds to expand into 2 big states in India that would contribute to 70% of Indian shrimp production market. We are asking 600K right now to bring order to this chaos. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, Raj. Next up is the sole Norwegian participant. So you'll probably get a big round of applause, Frederick. Maybe? AlgaePro.
I want to start by talking to you guys about food, because food is important to us. Food is a social glue. Food is keeping us healthy. I mean, food is even keeping us alive. The idea is that the better food we eat, the healthier we become. But we know that the food that we eat is not always as healthy as we'd like to think. This can be traced back to many things, the quality of the soil, or we can trace it back to the quality of the feed that animals eat, because we're going to eat the animals eventually. The thing is that the quality of animal feed has been decreasing for several years. The reason for this is that we are simply lacking the good ingredients to put into the feed. So, the good stuff that is supposed to go into the feed is replaced by something of a lower quality. Again, causing our meals to have a lower quality. We don't like that so much. We're also facing other challenges. The population is growing very fast. In the next 40 years, we will have to produce the same amount of food as we had done in the 10,000 years behind us. That means things have to change. And it means we need microalgae. Microalgae is a wonderful natural resource. It is packed with nutrition and energy, and it's been around forever. It's a natural resource. Microalgae has been used in Chinese cooking for 2,500 years that we know of. Microalgae is the only source we know that can significantly increase the primary production of feed and food. Microalgae is superfood for humans and animals. This is a game changer. This is the green gold. This is the future. The process of producing microalgae is really quite simple. Waste goes in, high-quality product comes out. We put in stuff like wastewater, bio-waste from food, and CO2, because that's the best food for the algae. And another nice side effect of the production is that it's not only carbon neutral, it's actually carbon negative, because the algae are eating the CO2 to grow. Our business model is equally simple. After growing for about a week, the algae are taken out of the production plant. We take what we now call the biomass and send it to our customers, and they pay us back. It's really that simple. Our customers use the biomass to produce the end products, whether it's feed, food, cosmetics, or whatever, basically. That's another beauty of microalgae, because it's so diverse, there are no limits to what can be made. This is our demo plant in Poland, inside and outside. Verified 2 weeks ago by 2 happy, good-looking guys with a thumbs up. Our technology is really something special. It's new and disruptive. It's 100% automatic, meaning that we can control every aspect of the production. Sorry. Like I said, there are no limits to what can be made from microalgae. From microalgae, we can even make bioplastic, which will dissolve in nature in under a week. Completely natural. Isn't that cool? Yes, that is very cool. For now, our main focus is on fish feed, but we wouldn't feed the fish anything we wouldn't feed you guys. That's why we brought some food samples of what can be produced for human consumption. So we got Henrik over here. He's a professional chef, and he's our friend. And today he has made muffins and pancakes from algae. That's really cool. And we got another collaboration going on because Henrik, he is the guy who is making chips from the skin from salmons. You may have read about him. Today he has brought his salmon chips, and he has a coating of algae seasoning. So in the break, feel free to talk to him and have a snack. It's tasty and it's very healthy. Now, back to the system. The system is very flexible. That means we can change the output once every week, actually. So the first week, we can produce for fish feed. The next week, we can produce for human consumption. And the third week, we can produce for cosmetics or whatever. That way, we can always adjust to what the market is asking for. Now, the market, 3 years ago, the market was valued at $1 billion. 5 years from now, it is predicted to have a value of $45 billion. That's an increase. And you know what that means? That means that we have tickets on the fast train. And if you want, you can join us. Now, the AlgaePro team has got what it takes to build a successful business. We got the experience, we got the management skills, we got the people skills, we got the market skills, and we got the technology skills. And as you can see, we already got the humble, good-looking guy on board. And maybe most important of all, we all share a passion. Our common passion and goal is to make AlgaePro a leading player in our industry in the years to come. For the past 3 months, we've been a part of Hatch. We've learned a lot. We made good friends for life, and we have made a lot of important work. We have gotten the first grant fundings. We have secured some LOIs with important customers, and we have also secured important R&D partnerships with universities in 3 different European countries. We now have the global exclusive rights to sell and use the technology, and we are connected to 16 different locations on 3 continents where we can build and operate algae plants. We've gotten a lot of traction, and we are now ready to take on the next phase of this exciting journey. So for the next phase, we will secure more funding, we will strengthen our relations, and we will expand on our organization. We will very soon start building our Norwegian demo plant, and we will start building a second production plant, and we will make our first sale in the market, all within the next year. We're now looking for partners who knows how to build an industry. We're looking for partners who can expand our network. We're looking for partners who wants to have fun with us along the way. So we would like to welcome you on board, helping us save the world one microalgae at a time. Thank you.
Did he say he was good looking? Once or twice, maybe. But just to give you a sense of the international element to it, folks, I really want you to take away this today. Our next speaker is Norwegian, from a company which is based in the UK. But these guys, Stian and Juan Martin, have been I think it's 22 flights in the last 3 weeks, going as far away as Ecuador to try and win business. And that's the kind of attitude and the kind of persistence and drive that you need to make things happen. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear about all their progress. Stian.
$150 billion are getting traded every single year over phones and emails in the seafood industry. And a lot of these guys still put their fax numbers on their business cards, believe it or not. My name is Stian. I'm the co-founder of TradeIT, and we want to break the barrier between importers and exporters by providing them with a digital tool where they can conduct their business. Me and my best friend Juan Martin started off trading seafood in 2016. We were importing shrimp from Juan Martin's home country, Ecuador, and selling it in London, more specific in Billingsgate Market. In case you don't know anything about Billingsgate Market, imagine how the New York Stock Exchange looked in the 1920s, just filled with fish. It's completely chaotic, and it's not uncommon for us to get paid 50,000 pounds in cash covered in fish blood. That's simply how these guys pay their suppliers. But what kind of made us more frustrated than all the cash payment was the fact that most of our time is not actually spent talking to customers and selling our products. It's actually spent dealing with suppliers and negotiating with them. And I have a short little outcast of a container that we bought back in December last year. And essentially, there's 28 emails back and forward, negotiating with prices and everything related to the trade. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details because the emails are quite lengthy. But the point is that the procurement process of this is extremely lengthy. And for us, that takes up quite a lot of time. And what's quite interesting about this is we were always dealing with one container, one species of seafood, and one exporter. But if you look at the market, that's not normally the case. Normally, importers deal with several different exporters because they want to make sure that they get the best deals. They deal with many different species, and they deal with many different countries. So the lengthy procurement is a process that we struggled with. A lot of companies are doing with maybe 10 to 20 different exporters across the whole world, with time differences and language barriers kind of slowing everything down. We believe that this chaotic market also creates an opportunity for brokers and intermediaries to come in and make a profit out of it. Looking at the market from a different perspective, it's growing quite a lot, and we're seeing a lot of digital trends. Marketplaces such as Alibaba has over 200,000 listings from over 3,000 suppliers, and simple directories are having almost 10,000 suppliers listed. This kind of shows that exporters are trying to move into the digital space. A company we want to also bring forward is G-Fresh, which is pioneering the sale of seafood digitally in China. They're moving quite large volumes already, and they just raised $20 million to expand their operations in China. So we feel that this is proving that the whole industry is accepting that the digital solutions are the way to go to get more exposure and to make their processes more efficient. When it comes to our solution, we're looking at creating the first space where buyers and sellers can meet, communicate, negotiate, and transact in a secure and efficient way. We're bringing to market a place where importers can look for exporters across different species, across different countries, where everyone involved will have their own personal identity, so you can see exactly who you're dealing with and what their values are. And of course, everyone is going to be validated so that we can ensure that we only deal with trustworthy suppliers. We're providing all of our users with dashboards that can assist them in the trade process so that they can make informed business decisions about the trade, where they can communicate with customers from all over the world, and where they can keep track of all of their orders and all of the containers that they're dealing with at the time. We're also allowing for importers to directly ask for prices, where instead of using that whole procurement process you saw before, the customer already builds up all of their specification in an already made pro forma invoice, where the exporter only has to enter the prices they're willing to offer for those products. Now, we understand that bringing a sophisticated solution like this to the market is going to be hard, which is why we've focused on building a great team of talented people from several innovative international conglomerates. And our CTO was a part of the core team who built ASOS.com, which is one of the biggest marketplaces in the world for fashion. So he both has the skills and knowledge to build a platform of this scale. 2 weeks ago, we had the pleasure of being invited by the Ecuadorian government to pitch to the top 30 exporters in Ecuador. And during that week, we got a lot of exciting and positive feedback from the exporters we talked to. And out of the companies we managed to, we had time to meet up with, 100% of them signed letters of intent because they all saw that this is going to drive a lot of value to their business. These are all companies that are inviting us into their offices to look at their processes and their pain points so we can help construct our solution in a way that drives as much value as possible. With these 9 companies, we're covering around $600 million in export value. 257 importers across 28 different countries. We already feel that this is a quite good customer base to test our solution on, but we're still looking for exporters across different species and different countries to join this pilot so that we can get a wider perspective of what we need to do. In terms of the monetization, we're looking at subscription fees and transaction fees in the early phase, and as our customer base grows, we'll be looking to charge for data and analytics and added services such as logistics and insurance. We started actively working on TradeIT in January this year, and after we got accepted to Hatch, we both built a great team, we built a prototype, and we got customers on board. Now we're moving into a phase of development to make us have the product ready in the hands of our customers early next year, and we're looking to raise $750,000 to make that happen. So if you guys want to help these guys get rid of their fax machines, reach out to me or anyone in my team. Thank you.
Done, man. Okay, folks. I think all those guys deserve a really big round of applause. What do you think? But we're only halfway through, okay? So I invite you to go out for about 20 minutes. I'm actually ahead of time. I'm doing a good job here. About 20 minutes, come back in around just after 6:45. And I'd also encourage you folks, there's a camera out there. This is a wonderful opportunity for people to share their support, their insights, their comments around aquaculture, because we want to make this a real opportunity and a platform to share this with the world. So I'd appreciate it if you can share your thoughts out to the camera, if you're not camera shy. Thank you. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, folks. I feel like teacher in school. Okay. You're all very, very welcome back. Okay, we'll get straight into it. I know you guys have families and stuff to go home to as well this evening, so I'm really happy to get on to the home stretch and to share with you 4 more companies from the Hatch cohort. And first up is Sensaway, and just down to the live stream, I'd like to say hello, big hello to Afonso back in Portugal. But without further ado, please welcome Andre from Sensaway.
So let me start by showing you a fish farmer, a pond-based fish farmer at night. If it works. Ah, there he is. He can't sleep because he's worried about the decisions he made today and if they were good enough for his fish to survive during the night. We experienced this firsthand, and that's how we got here. So me and my co-founder, Afonso, both studied aerospace engineering, where we met. And after that, I went to work in the aerospace industry, while he actually went to work in private equity. And after some time, Afonso actually had to go and help a fish farm his family owned for over 20 years. And once he got there, he started talking to everyone, asking a lot of questions to really try and understand the business. And everyone agreed that to have a successful production, you need 3 things. 3 things. Good fish, good feed, and good water quality. So these first 2 are a matter of finding the right supplier because you buy them, but water quality is a resource you actually have to manage on a daily basis. And to his surprise, after so many years of running the company, the managers were still changing their practices and arguing over the best way on how to do it. And it's really important to get this right, because if you don't, your fish will stop growing because they won't eat. It can lead to diseases, and if it gets worse, your fish will die. All of this was happening at the company, so to make sure it wasn't an isolated problem, Afonso went to visit other farms with more advanced technology, more resources, and more information to learn from them. But they were all still arguing over the same issues and having the same problems. And the reason this is happening is because they're missing the link that explains the relation between the set of actions they need to take, so when to turn on and off the pumps, when to open and close valves, to be able to achieve the water conditions they want to have. And that link is water flow. So quantifying exactly how much water is actually being exchanged in each of these ponds. And not knowing this is what was causing all the problems. So if water flow plays such a major role in fish production, how come there's no company out there actually helping the farmers measure it and make these decisions? And that's when he saw the opportunity to make that company. He wanted to show them that by combining hydraulics with machine learning, you could provide the missing piece of this puzzle. So To get started on that, all Afonso needed was some sensor data. And that's when the farmers got him this. The world's worst and most expensive graph. He obviously couldn't use this data, and it was a huge problem on its own, so he figured, well, for 2 problems, you need at least 2 aerospace engineers, and that's when I came in. So when he called me up, I was working for a drone company back home, and once he started explaining to me the problems he was facing, it wasn't hard to see the opportunity. And so I quit my job, I moved to the south of Portugal, and I joined him to start Sensaway. But to start, we needed to tackle this problem. And for that, we developed our own devices that can connect to different types of sensors and broadcast the information via Wi-Fi. We made it really cost competitive to make sure that even small farmers could afford it. And to your right is a version of this that comes with a solar panel, a battery, and a probe to measure dissolved oxygen, which is a complete solution we're actually selling right now. So once we started using these devices, we started getting this type of data. And now that we had what we needed, we could start developing our second product, an open management platform that can provide farmers with water flow measurements and predictions, warn them for future problems, and provide them with an optimal automation solution that simply doesn't exist right now. So after 1.5 years of developing our idea and technology, we finished our first market-ready version of the devices back in April. And just 3 days before coming to Hatch, we actually made our first sale in Portugal, which was awesome because someone was actually paying us for the technology we've been developing. And once we got here, we also quickly realized that our devices would be even more cost competitive if we could sell them to cages. And so in a span of just 3 weeks, we were able to adapt our solutions to do it. And then we made another sale, but this time to one of the biggest tilapia cage farms in Africa. We actually went there just 3 weeks ago to meet them, set everything up, and meet other potential clients in the region who were all really interested in our technology. So since we've gotten back, we've gotten more orders for 16 of our devices back in Portugal, and we're currently working on partnerships with aquaculture monitoring and consultancy companies that work with several farms in Greece, Turkey, and Vietnam. So with all this momentum we've been gaining, we're now currently looking to raise 400K to get us through the next 2 years by growing our team, being able to keep up with the demand for our devices worldwide, and finish the development of the management platform as quickly as possible because we're going to be the sole providers of this technology. So with this, we'll be able to reach 80K by the end of the year. In 2 years, we'll break even, and in 3 years, we'll be present in over 5,000 ponds. So I hope you can continue on following us through our journey to make farmers as efficient as they can be and to finally let them have a good night's sleep. Thank you.
Well done. Who would have ever thought that there'd be aerospace engineers involved in aquaculture? And that's just a quick point I want to make. Some of the disciplines and the experience and expertise that many of these guys and girls have are not necessarily aquaculture previously focused, but they're bringing their technology and they're bringing their expertise into it to really have an impact in this space. And I think everybody in the room should really, who are involved in teaching people how to, future careers, no matter what, even if they're not focused on aquaculture, but their disciplines can be extremely useful. But speaking of another engineer, I'd like to welcome Liris from Jala, all the way from Indonesia.
Money, money, money. Money is what they think when they see shrimps. Look at these farmers. They look very happy. They might be thinking of getting a new iPhone after this, because it's a harvest time. Shrimp is a very lucrative product, and the demand is continuing to grow. But there is another picture of shrimp industry. This is Nono, one of Indonesian farmer. He lost half of his money in 2015 because of shrimp disease. His expertise cannot help him to fight and prevent with this kind of loss. It's not only his problem, not only Indonesian farming problem, but also a global aquaculture problem.
90% of farms in Southeast Asia is already infected with at least one dormant disease living in the water and just wait for the immune system of the shrimps to be compromised. Over the past 20 years, there's no such a breakthrough in technology to prevent this type of disease in shrimp industry. Lacking of technology, lacking of expertise, and there's no data support on it. And this is also Aryo problems. Aryo is our founder, a co-founder, and he is a shrimp farmer since 2001. He's been in ups and downs in shrimp farming, been tired and back forward, but now he's a very successful shrimp farmer, actually have a lot of money from the shrimp. But through Aryo, we learned a lot about the know-how of the shrimp industry. We're a bunch of geeks in computers previously, bunch of geeks in hardware, but now shares the same passion in aquaculture. We want to tell our fellow farmers the solutions of their problems through technology and smart data. In 2016, we start giving them a solution, but it doesn't really fit to the market. We mess up. We were wrong. We only sold 3 devices. But we come back to the farms. We come back to talk with the farmers. I actually spend a lot of times with the farmers, have a lunch with them, a dinner with them, drink, and also sleep in the farms. But that's worth it, because then I know that we already make the solution that we provide for them. This is our IoT monitoring device that will capture the data from the water quality. And the data, with one button, will be sent to the cloud, and the farmers can access it to the mobile app. And it also supported with the decision support system so that the farmers know exactly what actions should they take based on the actual data at the right time. We are also completed with the simulations and planning program and also farm management report. And with all of this data, we can have an early warning system. We can predict and mapping the disease. We can predict the productivity, and we can predict the future of shrimp industry. And back to Nono. Last year, he's been becoming our good customer, and we've been able not only secure his value of the harvest, but also increasing the productivity and the revenue by 25%. And with his extra money, he's now able to expand his farms. Globally, 4.5 million metric tons is produced for shrimps, worth the market of $24 billion. And in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to focus on the Southeast Asia market. Our end customer is a shrimp farmer, but to get to them, we need the collaborations. To get to 400,000 ponds in Southeast Asia, we're going to collaborate with the feed companies, with the corporate farmers, with the government, with the insurance company, and the investment company as well. Previously, or currently, the farmers spend $6,000 just to hire an expert to help them to articulate the data from these several manual devices that cost them up to $3,000. So they spend around $9,000 or equal to $700 per pond per year. But by using Jala, we only charge them a subscriptions. They will pay $250 per pond per year. And instead of having 3 manual devices, they will get 1 device only. And they will get the support from our software as well in the package. Currently, over the past years, we've been working with 150 ponds in Indonesia. We also secured more than 2 million harvest value and increasing more than 25% of the productivity. And we work closely with several corporate farmers. We currently have a collaboration with the 2nd largest feed companies in Indonesia, Java Feed, and looking forward to another collaboration with several big companies in feed industry as well. And I know Cargill is here. So This year, we're gonna target 1,000 ponds that are going to use Jala, and the next year, 4,000 ponds, and increasing. And in a few years, not only monitoring device, but also we're gonna expand our research into smart cultivations and also urban aquaculture farming. Currently, we're looking for 600,000 for the seed rounds, and starting opening the round the 1st of June. And over the past 2 weeks, we actually already got a lead investor, half of them, and with the half of the money, I'm gonna invite you guys to fill the round as well. So talk to me after this. But anyway, the global aquaculture, the world will not going to be the same as today because of Jala. We empower shrimp farmers to better yields by technology and smart data.
I'll just make, this lady bullied me for 3 months, telling me what to do. She's a real boss. I'm delighted also now to welcome Lysverket and Emma to the stage. And what is a really important part of the aquaculture industry and a huge challenge in terms of traceability and sustainability, the social impact of that globally. So I'll invite Emma onto the stage to talk a little bit more about that.
Trust. In a seafood industry, trust is made by knowing or getting into a relationship with your first-tier supplier. However, this international trade has evolved a lot with a very long distance from production up to consumption. Therefore, in the middle of those have many different intermediaries that fit that space. There we have complex supply chain. We have huge environmental and social impact. And the lack of transparency is quite often remembered to us through journalists, through TV shows. And that's basically what we've been learning in the past years. Myself and Jan, my co-founder, have been working together for nearly 20 years on different fields, working in trade facilitation, in fishery data information system, and in biology as well, agriculture for the rest of the team. And we built together many different years of experience as well as worldwide knowledge of different countries. And we have witnessed this stretch from production to consumption and this complexity there. And we felt that there was a potential for an industry-driven solution that will fill that gap. And that's why Lysverket is born, to bring a full and a true story of the product coming to the consumer. How it works, basically it's a software platform where we use data in order to inform farm with dashboard, as well as each of the players of the supply chain. Each one of them having their own dashboard in order to monitor and to really see through their supply chain. They also have early warning system, etc. From the monitoring, what we bring in is the analytics. So we crush data into combining social and environmental information. So for example, by knowing the size of the farm, where it is, its GPS coordinates, together with looking at the satellite imagery for the past years, you will know whether they have been cutting the mangrove or not. You will also have an idea how many people shall be working on the farm. And from that, draw your metrics on child labor, on wages, etc. So we believe that by combining the social and environmental, we bring not only better and more sustainable practices, but we also enhance the traceability to provide with a full story. Therefore, what the platform does and the analytics behind is it pulls out compliance reports, and those reports tell the status about the production in terms of performance, but it also benchmarks against any kind of industry standards. So our solution Verificate is made to be agnostic to any kind of standard, relevance, supplier code, etc. How do we sell that? We sell it for free for farmers, and we spread the cost of compliance, the cost of market access, and the cost of transparency to the various other stakeholders of this supply chain. We've been doing that in agriculture, and we started together with a major contract with Nestle and PepsiCo against Bonsucro, which is the relevant sustainability standard in that space. And with the hatch, we really wanted to enter into the blue market. And that's basically where we are right now, being able to build on the Thailand pilots that we have started with Thai Union and build in more partners. Not only in Thailand, but also in Vietnam, where we are closing an important project with ASC for their improvement project. There, over 500 farms in the coming year. Also using this improvement traction in Indonesia, together with other teams from the cohort here. We also have been really blown away by the work that has been done here in Norway with AquaCloud. So to our surprise, we were really coming here ahead on shrimps, and we identified that there was also incredible amounts of data that was available here. Therefore, we also see a potential to further dig into this market from the Norwegian expertise, but also in other geographies for salmon as well. So you might see us again around here. We'll be back and we'll continue the market research in the salmon industry. Today, so we started 2 years ago almost, and we had our first customer. We are growing slowly. We are really looking at expanding teams and geographies. And we are here to get you a credible story and full data around the product. Thank you.
I think Emma actually raises a very important point in terms of a program like this and its potential, in terms of the teams collaborating with each other. They're all coming at things from different perspectives, but that's not to say that their expertise can help them look at a different part of the market, or maybe something that they never even thought of in the first place. And they worked extremely well together. So I was really delighted to see that happening. The last but by no means least presenter is Team Manolin and Tony. He's going to tell you a little bit about what he's been doing for the last 10 days. I was a bit skeptical when he said he wanted to go camping in the middle of an accelerator program. But his plan was to go out and talk to people. And now I'm going to allow him to talk to you about that journey. Tony.
Dad, come here. Dad, come here. If any of you guys have ever seen a kid catch their first fish, you've probably heard those exact 3 words. And I was no different. Fishing has been a big part of my life, and this is my favorite fishing story. So after I caught my largest trout, I spent 5 minutes struggling to get the hook out of this fish's mouth. When I tried to put him back in the water, he wouldn't swim off. So this photo is actually me in the water, moving this fish back and forth for 30 minutes, trying to get oxygen into its system. Back then, I was trying to save 1 fish. And today, I'm trying to save many more. This is unfortunately the image of what industrial aquaculture can look like. Fish health is the most unpredictable piece. And in a couple of these images, what you see are sea lice, a parasite that's contributing to a decline in wild stocks of salmon, as well as costing the industry billions of dollars each year. Farmers have tried various tactics to combat these parasites, but lice They're evolutionary superstars. They have a very short life cycle, and they've proven to become resistant to any sort of treatments that we have tried. With how quickly a parasite like this can spread in an aquatic environment, I think it's critical that we have the right systems to monitor and manage any sort of health issue. And let me give you an example of how health affects an actual farm. This is our friend Trygve, and he's a production manager at a local salmon farm. In his role, he's responsible for developing the production and treatment plans across his entire company. And how he does that is by integrating various data sets. These include public records on reporting and regulations, health reports that are published, as well as his own production data. What he does is he integrates all this information through various tools to try to understand and gain insights for him to make split-second decisions. As somebody that's just graduated, the pressure to make these uncertain decisions that could cost his company millions of dollars is extremely stressful. Simply put, he can't efficiently understand the information that he's been asked to constantly look at. So that's how we fit in. My name is Tony, and I have a computer science degree from MIT. Together with my co-founder, John, who's a data scientist, we have previous experience building machine learning models and digital analytics solutions for the US government. We recently quit our jobs, moved halfway around the world, just to follow our dream of helping aquaculture grow. We believe if a sustainable aquaculture is going to scale, Norway is going to be a leading example for the rest of the world. So our company is Manolin, and we are a digital analytics solution for aquaculture. What we do is integrate public and private data sets to provide the industry with the right insights at the right time. For example, with sea lice, we send farmers notifications so that they can understand when an outbreak may be happening. In just the last 4 months, we've already built our first product, launched it into the market, and as of today, 16% of all active farms are using our system to receive notifications. But this is only the first piece of our vision. What we're trying to do is standardize the way the entire industry talks about aquatic health. It starts by helping farmers understand what's happening on their farm and in their area, but this becomes reports that are shared with others. This simplifies the certification process, and in general, just helps us better understand what's happening in the aquatic ecosystem. With this information, we can create better policy to regulate the industry. We can even develop new financing models to better stabilize the industry. And this idea of getting everyone onto the same page is something that we've validated with our customers. So John and I actually just got back from a trip where we visited salmon farmers up and down the entire coast. We camped the entire way, and I must say, it was the best office view I've ever had. John was even able to catch his first fish in this country. And for those of us in the cohort, we know how much of a challenge that's been for him the last few months. So when you get the time, talk to him about it tonight. But on a more serious note, talking with these farmers, the main insight that we gathered was everybody wants to see this industry grow, but they want to see it grow in the right way. So our business model is targeted towards incentivizing people to collaborate more. Our initial product is free, and then we offer subscription-based services on top of that base platform. In order to hit our milestones and to meet the commitments of our customers, we're looking to raise a round of funding this fall. We're asking for $500,000 to leverage existing match funding and to scale our team. We are Manolin, and we hope you join us on our journey.
Well done, man. Well, folks, our work is done, but it isn't actually. It's only beginning. I think these 3 months, I think you'll all agree that they have come an incredible amount, a long way in those 12 weeks. I mean, it's literally 88 days to today that they've been here and all that progress. I think they visited about 17 countries. And I also want to put a shout out today to all the mentors who you'll see inside that folder. They're a very, very important part of this ecosystem to try and build and help these guys build their businesses globally. And now I guess it's you drive for show and put for dough. Now it's the time of the evening where we're going to call on a few people to the stage in terms of, first of all, it's an award for the best contributor. Just before we invite people up, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. In the environment of an accelerator, there's a lot of pressure. And sorry, just thanks for putting that up. Please go to Slido in terms of you need to start making your vote now because the poll is live. Make your vote for who you think is the most investable company. But in terms of the best contributor, it's the person that represents truly the spirit of the program, you know, is one who's there in the morning and helping people and making coffee, and, you know, it's a real group effort. And I think this person who's won it this evening truly deserves the award. So what I'm going to ask for is for George. George is the CEO, development director and co-founder. He's going to be the CEO, right? And of course, the real CEO. And also, if
thank you.
I'm delighted to say that this particular award is sponsored by DNB. So, Katrine, if you can come up, and we'll just present this award to the winner.
Hi. So, I have the pleasure to present the award or tell you who that person is. I have to say that we as a team, we haven't voted for it. So it's purely from the startups for one of those team members. And there's one person in the room that started off their own or a kitchen within our kitchen because there was not enough food. The same person took care of Hugo, Emma's son, when Emma had to fly to Barcelona to meet clients. And that same person, in the climax of absolute social superpowers, managed to get Carsten up Ulriken.
Oh,
so,
yeah, I even gave her. I gave her all my luggage, and still she was up there at first. I had to take 3 breaks. She just went straight up. Said, warm up.
Yeah, disclaimer, it's a she. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Liris. Thank you so much, Liris, for being part of it. Woo!
Congratulations.
Oh, you want
to? It's not a dance.
I need to take you to up of the Ulriken, George.
No, I'm not going with you.
And you too, eh?
No, not for me. Let's get a photograph. Okay, big round of applause for Liris.
We have one little extra for you, because maybe you noticed from my comments, I'm quite a social person, and I understand you are as well. So we brought a little extra to go with this nice glass stuff, something that you hopefully can use for a social event. Okay. It's tickets for a concert, so I don't know if you'll still be here on 3rd of July. If not, you have to give to your friends. But tickets for the concert for Bruno Mars.
I'd say that flight would be booked by the end of the evening. Okay, I'm just going to step off stage for 1 second. Do we have an...
Yeah.
Please don't.
Can I tell German jokes?
Germans can't tell jokes.
No, we don't. I know one joke, and it can't be translated, really. So it's not dirty or anything. It just can't be translated.
Yeah, I don't know.
Could we ask Daniel Barziza from Cargill to join us on stage? Now, for this award, the most investable company, it was a very close race in terms of your suggestion as to who should be the winner. But you've made your decision, and for the audience vote, And I'll keep talking while these guys kind of figure it out over here. But for the audience vote, the winner was Team Manolin. No. We'll get a picture. No, they're not the winner for that. You're the team. Yeah. But I think we should have a picture here. We'll put this over here. Yeah. Okay. The audience vote winner. Well done, guys. Judges, are we ready? Yes? No? We ready?
Count to 25.
25.
1,
2, 3. Come on,
4,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
11. 120, you mean? Oh, wow.
Well, it gives me an opportunity, I guess, just to say, all of these teams, they're from all over the world, and as I said, their families are back home. I'm really happy for them that they're going to go back and visit them. For me, and Carsten will wrap this up in a few seconds, but it's been a real privilege to work with them and see the amount of pure hard work and grit. That stuff doesn't happen easy, folks, and I think you know that. And also for all the people that come in to visit us in Hatch. We were very popular. There was many visitors coming in. If we started charging, we could have made a lot of money, Carsten.
I know.
But it was fantastic to see it. And places like the Hávardsson commune, is really important that they get behind. Well, I would say projects like this, but I think the community here has a real potential and a real opportunity. And as I said at the very beginning, my first few words, to make Bergen the global centre of excellence for aquaculture. And it's up to you and us, and many people in this room can make that happen. And just to finish off in terms of the teams themselves, you've heard them all ask me for money, so if anybody has nice big fat checkbooks in the room, you'll be very welcome. I'm sure they'll be queuing up outside to take them from you. But I really appreciate you coming here this evening and supporting all our teams. Okay? Is that 2 minutes, guys? Are we ready?
Yeah, it's 2 minutes. I actually counted.
I know I'm Irish, but I won't sing a song. We'll clear the room too quickly.
No, it's not.
Lyris doesn't like the music that we have. She's having nightmares about it. Okay. Are you ready? Drum roll, please.
And you gave us so much time to think and discuss.
120 seconds.
I'm very grateful for that, I have to say. So, should we just like da-da?
Ta-da.
First of all, it's been fantastic to listen to all the teams. A lot of good work apparently has been done, and I think and many of the companies have potential, both within those that I can relate to in salmon farming, but also I can see the greater potential as well. So I think we'll just jump into it. Save many more fish. I think we agreed with the public vote.
Woo!
Oh, wow.
Manolin.
Fantastic. Well done, man. Good choice.
Another one. Oh, yeah.
Okay. You put a photo?
Speech. Speech.
Okay. The money shot first.
I want to promote a new restaurant in town. Which one? How do you pronounce it? That one, Lysverket.
Serving what fish?
Serving salmon, halibut, and all other sorts of fishes. On a more serious note, I just want to thank everybody for the votes, and it's been an honor being in Bergen, and we're really excited for what's to come in the next couple months. Tony and I will, be here, so more than welcome to stop in the office and learn more about what we're doing. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, your most investable company. Okay, thank you. I knew they wouldn't get off the stage if they won this. Well done, guys. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so...
We'll get off the stage.
Please.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, guys, I'm just going to wrap this up really quickly. It's been amazing. I really feel like a beer right now. I felt like a beer for the last 4 weeks. Then I had a beer, and now I still feel like a beer. But I do want to put one more comment, because I do want to put what we do into kind of a larger perspective, and also where the industry is heading. We heard it a couple of times today, but I would like to say how I see the industry moving forward, and especially investment in the industry. And I would like to use a different industry, the poultry industry. And I was told today earlier that I can't pronounce poultry, so it's not poetry, it's chickens that I want to talk about, right? So 100 years ago, was when industrial chicken production really started. 100 years ago, it took a chicken between 90 to 100 days to grow 1 kilogram. Today, it takes a chicken on average 25 days to grow 1 kilogram. The reason why this is relevant for us is because the aquaculture industry is only 35 years old, the industrial aquaculture industry here in Norway, and much younger in other places around the world. All that sort of innovation that led chickens to grow 4 times faster now than they used to is still ahead of us. This is why it's an amazingly exciting time right now for investors like us, and we consider ourselves, at the end of the day, we're an investment company, to get in right now. We've heard it today before as well. We've seen lately the Silicon Valley making transactions into an industry now where most people in the United States don't even know what it is. And that is really exciting. So just over the last 6 weeks, actually, there's been 3 major transactions, one of them done by Aquaspark in an aquaculture technology company in Canada, about 10 million. Another 10 million transaction in a company called Umitron from Singapore, and more than $100 million transaction in a company called AgriProtein, which does insect feed. So this is all really exciting. And I want you guys to leave today by thinking that what you saw here today, this is going to be the large transactions of tomorrow, and this is going to be the time now for investors to get in and do your part. For us, it means we are actually going to go on now. We are going to go to Ireland and set up our next cohort there in September this year. So today I would like to officially also announce the application process for this cohort to be open. That's just who we are. We need to do our business. And at the same time, because what we also do after 3 months is that we really see the companies that we want to invest in much more. And we have some more leverage to do that, but also we would like to invite third-party investors to help us support these companies in their later rounds of funding. So we are also raising a fund. So with this said, I'd like to just wrap it up for today, and I'd like to invite you guys to have one more drink with us outside. And yeah, have a safe trip home. We see you here next year in Bergen.
That's it, folks. Good night, and thank you very much.